Hello and welcome to Tungsten Wire and welcome to another episode on our YouTube channel. Today I'm not going to be covering, or in this video I'm not going to be covering a article I wrote or one of our reporters wrote. This one is going to be going over article by Taylor Lorenz that she wrote for Wired. And it's about a dark money group that is secretly funding high-profile Democratic influencers, including big ones like Olivia Juliana, Brian Cohen, who is a co-founder of this chorus group, and David Pakman. And we're going to watch a response or a clip of a response from David Pakman, and then we'll go into that. And I'm not going to read this article. I'm not going to go over it. I'm just going to have it on this. I just have it on the screen, but I want you guys to go over and read it. I don't want to take away, readers from Wired or Taylor Lorenz by going over their content on video, especially even though I won't be because it's going to get 7 views. But anyways, I digress. um, Essentially, what it's saying is that there is a group called Chorus Media, founded by Brian Cohen, who are giving up to $8,000 a month to Democrat left leaning, even though they're centrist neoliberal content creators. Among those, David Pakman, Olivia Juliana, and they're getting up to $8,000 a month. That's 96,000 US dollars a year. And the main issue with this is the dark money, and it's coming from a group called 1630 Fund, the 1630 Fund. And we don't know which billionaires are funding that. And so in the contract, it does stipulate that they're not allowed to talk about the fact that they are a Chorus Media member. They're not allowed to disclose that they're getting paid by them. And we don't know where that money's coming from. And they all claim to be independent media, yet they aren't. They claim to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not towing the party line, yet they are. They don't criticize the things the Democrats do, right? That are hurting the party. They don't do that. They're always towing the party line. They're always looking for access, and that's what Chorus gave them. It gave them power, clout, and access to the detriment of the party and its supporters. And that's the main issue. Anyways, let's go ahead and watch David Pakman's answer, and let's get into it.
It's for years I've been saying the left needs to organize independent media in the way that the right has been doing. The left needs to fund independent creators the way that the right does. The right has won even arguably presidential elections because they're organized with regard to online and independent media. They're killing us. We've been so behind. And this kind of support for creators is exactly what I've been advocating for. It's for years I've been saying
Look, he's not wrong, right? The left lacks a level of funding that the right enjoys when it comes to independent media. But this situation isn't about funding from a creator fund or a grant or grassroots support for independent journalism. What's happening here is different, and it's more akin to right-wing, a dark money. And they're taking money from a company that has direct influence over them and their work. But we haven't seen. That's the claim. We haven't seen the contracts, and they won't release the contracts. However, what I'll say is this: they are all towing the party line. The problem with that is it's not independence. What they're doing is no longer journalism. And what a lot of people come back at me and have come back at me on Twitter and Blue Sky and whatnot, Instagram as well, is to say that, well, these guys aren't journalists, they're social media creators. And that is true. They are social media creators. But go to their bios and it says that they're journalists, independent journalists. Right? But what they're doing right now is no longer journalism. It's public relations. And I know what public relations is because that's my profession. When an outside organization has any say in what you can and cannot say, or which topics you can or cannot touch, You've stopped being an independent contributor. You've become a mouthpiece. And I know what they're going to say. They're going to be like, well, they don't have any agency on which topics I can and cannot touch. Well, they're funding you because they know what topics you won't touch. For example, the genocide in Gaza. The three big ones are not talking about it. And remember, why do we have independent media? Why is it growing so much over traditional media? It's because it exists to hold power accountable. And yet, what this does is make them become an extension of it. The left's strength has always been its willingness to call out its own. When Bernie does something we don't like, we call him out. When AOC does something we don't like, we call him out. When Biden or Harris do something we don't like, we call them out. But the difference is we still support them when the time comes. And I know everyone wants to blame leftists for Kamala losing. That's not why she lost. A lot of leftists still voted for her. But she didn't do enough to get people to come out and vote. It's not like all of them just went to Trump and voted. They didn't come out to vote because she didn't give them a reason to come out and vote. And that criticism is what separates us from the mega cult, who, when no matter what Trump does, his supporters will fall in line, even if it contradicts everything they previously claimed to believe. Look at the Epstein files. All of them were demanding the Epstein file be released. And now that we know that Trump is in them, they're like, no, Biden, did something with them, and that he fudged them, and now they can't be released. Guys, some are saying that they don't exist. There's no Epstein thing. They're saying Ghislaine Maxwell is saying that Trump was a gentleman, so that must be true as well. They're all anti-pedophilia until a pedophile says something, and then they're like, "Yo, no, that's a worthy woman to listen to." Anyways, back to this Packman and Brian Cohen and them. By allowing corporate influence over your voice, you're no longer part of independent media, right? And that's what they've done. They're supposed to be speaking truth to power, but instead they've become PR for power. And that makes them no different than the very propagandists that we oppose. Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, those guys getting their millions from Russia. I'm not saying this is the same. It's not. But the whole issue is the 1630 fund is funding them, and we don't know where that money comes from. We don't know which billionaires are funding these people. They might know, but we don't. And that's dark money. And remember, these dark money donors, they're not funding David Packman, Brian Tyler Cohen, and Olivia Giuliani to go after MAGA and Trump and whatnot. Nah, there's people already doing that without having to be paid $8,000 a month. They're funding them to smear leftists, to try and manufacture support for unpopular politicians like Alyssa Slotkin. They're funding them to smear the leftists pushing for things like Medicare for all, federal housing guarantee, and an arms embargo on Israel. Now, here's the thing, right? These people, look at their Twitter. Right now, Zohran Mamdani is probably the most popular politician the Democrats have had since AOC. And yet, the Democrats are trying to sabotage him. Hakeem Jeffries refuses to endorse him. Gillibrand, or whatever her name is, has called him out for saying things that he never said, and so many other Democrats are too hesitant to endorse him. AOC has endorsed him. Bernie Sanders has endorsed him. Others have endorsed him, but the power, like Chuck Schumer, the power of the Democrats, the power not the power because they have no power. The leadership, of the Democrats refuse to. And guess what? Go to the Twitter of Brian Tyler Cohen. Look up Zohran. He said nothing. Look up D. Packman on Zohran. He said nothing. Look at Olivia Giuliani on Zohran. She said nothing. This is what their objective is. They're running cover for the Democrat leadership for their own gain, for their own power, and the detriment of the party. These are not patriots. These are not progressive people. These are grifters. And again, Wired has I see a lot of people going after Wired and Taylor Lorenz. I want to be very clear here. I know nothing about Taylor Lorenz. I don't know anything about her as a journalist. I've seen her on Zateo with Mehdi Hassan. I've seen her on Majority Report and that sort of thing, but I've never actually followed her, subscribed to any of her work, and I haven't read much of her work either. This is the first one I've read. And so I have no, right? I see a lot of people saying that she's not a good person, and she might be a bad person. I don't know. And if she's a bad person, she's a bad person. What can I do about that? But that doesn't mean the journalism is wrong or bad or whatever, right? Wired is a incredible publication that has a track record of publishing, factual stories. They have a they've shown a precedent of vetting their sources extremely well, and so I doubt that a huge, massive publication like Wired would have something published that didn't have some backing behind it. And something that tells me that what was reported was true is it would be so easy to sue them if they were lying, if it was misinformation or defamation or whatever Brian Cohen wants to say it was. But they're not, and that tells me a lot. I kind of went on a rant there, but I think we're going to stop it for now. Thank you for watching today. This was a unscripted thing. I just wanted to make a video about it because it's just so bizarre. If you like this, please go to thetungstenwire.com and subscribe to our newsletter or our website. Subscribe to this channel if you like the stuff that I'm doing. Like it, comment. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. If you think I'm completely correct, just let me know. And have yourself, guys, a wonderful day. Peace be upon you.